Welcome back to the Escape to the Magic podcast. We're your hosts. I am Randy.
I'm Dack.
And I'm Ryan.
And this week we bring to you the theme music.
I don't know a good Animal Kingdom theme music. We need some.
This
some
is.
background.
This is.
I don't know what sound I just made. I don't know what that was.
This is the ultimate Animal Kingdom rankings, chock full of 8 complete attractions.
I'll tell you what, looking at Animal Kingdom, we've talked about this, how is it a full park day? And it's really not. Looking at these 8, I mean, we're down to 8 attractions. Well, at Animal Kingdom right now.
I will say this, and so in preview, right, Ryan prepared the survey. Many people have taken it, and it did have 8 attractions. I do think it was missing 2. There could have been 10.
Okay. We'll
talk about that later.
Because I'm curious.
And I do think that the addition of those other 2 could have skewed it, but that's okay. I think what we have is actually as good as last night. I went on my rant with my children and my wife about the fraud and phoniness of the BCS and its ranking system. And so if you want to say that we are like them, that's okay. They made a lot of money.
Right. So going back to your question, is it a full day park? I think it just depends, and I don't want to dive into this because that's not what the episode's about, but I do think depending on how you spend your day at Animal Kingdom, you can definitely make it into a full day park. It's just what's your game plan? How are you going to Disney or to Animal Kingdom? Are you only there for the rides, or are you taking in some of the other, aspects of the park, which the animal actual aspects and all the different exhibits and everything like that. But we can get into that as we discuss the rankings.
Yeah, because we need to remind our listeners, where are we going to be tomorrow?
Tomorrow we will actually be in the park. So by the time this episode drops, we will be waking up and heading to the Magic Kingdom.
So we did on last week's episode. We
lied.
We got ahead of ourselves
because
a little
we can't math, right?
Yeah,
So you're thinking, oh, they're in the parks this week, and the answer is no, we're not.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But we will be in the parks tomorrow. So on that note, we do plan to, plan is always the operative word, right? Do a few maybe Instagram live videos. Try to maybe record a little bit while we're there. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we have, I think we counted up 4 guys that have never been to Disney World. Faces. And so this will be exciting. We actually have a total. This is crazy. We've never had this many on our guys trip before. We've had as little as just the 2 of us.
Yep.
But this time we actually have 9 guys coming with us. Like I said, 4 of which have
we've got
never.
10.
Oh, you're right. We do have 10.
This number keeps getting bigger every week.
Yeah. So 10? We have 10.
10 guys.
10 guys, 4 of which have never been to Disney World before. So this will be exciting. I've always asked the question, what's more exciting, you experiencing a ride for the first time or watching someone experience it for the first time?
And we're about to find out the answer to that.
We're about to find out.
And I'm really excited. So a good friend of ours who is probably the biggest Star Wars fan that I know.
Yeah, by far.
He's a member of the 501st Legion, right?
Yeah.
But he's never been to Galaxy's Edge.
And his son is right. If they're Star Wars fan number 1, he's Star Wars fan number 1B.
Yeah. So
his son is just as much a Star Wars fan as he is.
Yeah. So I'm actually excited to see their reactions when they walk into Galaxy's Edge for the first time and see.
Tears.
You think tears?
Yeah.
You think there'll be some tears?
Well, if it's not, then we're not inviting people on these trips at the same time. So, it's going to come down to
either
that.
you cry or you don't come again.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's circle back for just one last second before we move on from this particular topic. But Animal Kingdom, full day park or not, one thing that's important to keep in mind is it is a unique park in terms of its hours, its operating hours. It is typically the park that opens the earliest all the time. And it is the one that closes the earliest all the time too. It's not a 9:00 p.m. park. It's definitely not a 10 or 12 p.m. park. I think if that ever happens, it's on a very special event, special basis. Typically Animal Kingdom closes at 6 or 7 because the animals are going to go to bed. And they, and here's the other thing too. Animal Kingdom, it's a theme park for sure, but it's a research theme park, right? And so there are a lot of folks involved with the animals that are out there doing things, particularly to care for them, to take care of them, to provide research on best methods for conservation and protection and all sorts of stuff. They're not midnight people. So when we say, is it a full day park? I think it's what you want it to be. I think that's right. But I think it's also naturally not necessary. It's never going to be the same type of park as any of the others because it just doesn't have that kind of availability.
Yeah, there's no fireworks show at the end.
Because the animals don't like the fireworks.
Yeah. And speaking of, have you guys ever, speaking of research, have you guys ever gone back to the conservation center, taken the train back there?
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool experience. That's not.
I have never, I said, yeah. I know it, that I know what you're talking about. No, I've never done it actually.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
You can pet some goats.
So that's Rafiki's Planet Watch, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a pretty cool experience if you've never done it.
Yeah, not just petting goats, but like you can see them actually doing live procedures on animals and different things that is going on. So there's a docu-series on Disney Plus that's all about this, right? It's all about the Animal Kingdom Park, and they show kind of Rafiki's Planet and everything, or Planet Watch, sorry. And man, it's just cool. It's cool to be back there and see all the interactions. Like you're saying, Randy, there's so many layers to Animal Kingdom besides just, I think a lot of people just are like, oh, well, that's a zoo. We have a zoo here in our town. That is not the case.
No,
it is not a zoo.
No, not even close.
I actually don't see very many animals when I'm not really looking, but to me, that's, you go to a zoo and it's like you smell the zoo for one. There's no smell at Animal Kingdom. I mean, there's the smell of delicious colossal cinnamon rolls that you can get there, but you don't have that typical zoo smell.
And I think they did it right. So like when Animal Kingdom was first opening up, if you remember, it took a lot of heat. Like a lot of people were not for Disney getting into
the animal business.
Yeah. And there was a lot of haters out there and people getting on Disney, and they hired some of the best zoologists and animal experts.
They got probably the foremost expert on to get her opinion.
Yeah.
She signed off on it.
And don't forget, okay, history lesson here. Don't forget, Walt's big thing was animals.
Yeah.
Right. Always has been. The wildlife videos on this was a thing that just fascinated him beyond anything else. And so this really was always right up that alley. But again, is it a full day park? It's going to be what you make it, right? Going out to Rafiki's Planet Watch actually is a time commitment. It's about a 20-minute train ride out there and back. So that's 40 minutes just in travel.
Well, it's about a 5-minute train ride.
Oh, well, if you wait, but
it has,
depending on your load and
that's true. If you count the wait time,
that's the thing is it can be long and it's sporadic, right?
Yeah.
So that alone. It's not like a traditional ride where you do wait in one line. You could be waiting in 2 lines, right?
Yeah, going there and then returning back. Because that's the only way to get there is take the train.
That's right.
Yeah.
So one other thing, and then we can get into the actual rankings, is I would say my pro tip for Animal Kingdom is just to your point, Randy, because it closes early, I would say this is one of the more important parks to get there as soon as it opens. And the reason why I feel that way, and you guys jump in if you feel differently, I think the animals are way more active in the morning during those early morning hours, especially in the summertime when the heat comes. They tend to find shade like the rest of us and just chill out. But if you can get there early at Animal Kingdom, I think you're going to see a lot more activity from the animals. And then you can hit the rides later.
If you're going there to see the animals, yes, but
for sure.
If you want to, so we've gone there before in the evening, and that's the only time in my life where I have done Everest 4 times in a row.
Nice,
walking on all 4 times and almost vomiting all four times afterwards because that was
4 times. 4 times. That's intense.
That's intense. So I'd never do it again. So.
All right, man. Right. All right, let's get into.
So let's get into these rankings, and Randy, I'm curious to which 2 I may have forgotten. So let me just.
You're going to kick yourself when I tell you one.
Oh man! Well, just tell me right now. Do we need to add them in?
You missed out on the 2 biggest theater shows there, right? Which includes Festival of the Lion King And then, of course, the Nemo version.
Okay,
on the other
so let
side.
me tell you, I actually did not forget those. I saw those. So I based these rankings the same way I did the last two. So we've done Magic Kingdom, we've done Hollywood Studios, and now we're doing Animal Kingdom. So based on the My Disney Experience app, when you go to the attractions link, this is what shows up. If you go to entertainment, that's where you find the Lion King show and the Finding Nemo show. We're going to do an episode where we talk about the shows, right? So at some point we will.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I accept your whatever reasoning you've got. I will say, though, both of them are ones for which you could use a lightning lane to get in. And in fact, I highly recommend that if you want to go to Festival of the Lion King, you do use a lightning lane.
That's
that
true.
line can be long and unpredictable. And the unlike many of the shows that I go to in other places, this is one that will fill up and pretty much fills up every time. And so there are people that do not get in, even if they wait in line. So it is a lightning lane attraction to use, but that's okay. This is the ultimate rankings, right? The BCS committee has determined that these 8 will be who are eligible.
That's right. And yeah, so then
Simba, you're out.
So, and then fast forwarding a few months, this is all going to come full circle for a future episode. So, and that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So getting into the rankings, and this is where we need some music. So it's a little BCS. I don't know. That was lame.
Now you're thinking of NFL films, and I definitely can't use that music.
We need the bells chiming.
I do have the complete NFL film soundtrack on my device, but I will not use it because I know they're already gearing up to send me a letter.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the ultimate or the definitive Animal Kingdom attractions, according to myself. So anyway, so here we have 8 attractions. We have Flight of Passage, we have Dinosaur, we have Expedition Everest. It's Tough to Be a Bug, which I guess kind of goes against my previous thought of, but again, It's Tough to Be a Bug shows up under the attractions tab on the My Disney Experience app. Lion King show does not. So, Cali River Rapids, the Expedition, not Expedition, but the Kilimanjaro Safaris, the Navi River Journey, and the Triceratops Spin, which I got to be honest, I didn't know that was still there.
Yeah, it's hanging on by a thread.
It is. So these rankings would have been a little better maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, back when Dino Land was at full force, but it's no longer at full force. So, all right. So in the past, how we've done this is that I've asked you guys to provide a rating, like you rate each attraction, and then we take a kind of an overall value. This time it's just straight up rank them 1 through 8, and we're taking the average. So pretty simple. And with these attractions, I had all of Dack's family participated, and Randy, all of your family participated.
Yeah.
And I forgot to have my family participate.
What?
So
yeah, I even got a bonus participant in my
I saw
niece.
that. I saw that. Yeah. I did have my daughter Riley. She was up last night with me. And she was helping me out, so I do have her ranking.
She made your decisions for you. This is just like the coaches poll every Sunday when Anyways,
yeah, I gave
here
her
I'm
the
about
piece
to
of
go on my
paper.
BCS rant again.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. So with those top 8, let's start with number 8. Any guesses? Let's start with
This is easy.
This is easy.
This is the easiest one. It's going to be Triceratops.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Not even close. So there were, let's see here, 14 of us that took the survey. So if you think of, the least favorite receiving an 8, their total score was 100. So mostly 8s. There was a 4 in there for my daughter Riley. I have no words.
That's interesting.
I love you, Riley.
I will say this: I've never ridden it, and I never will.
Yeah, so basically what it is it's what you would expect for, and they have different versions of this in different parks, right? It really is just the Dumbo
It's
ride.
Dumbo.
It's Dumbo.
Yeah, it's the Dumbo ride.
Magic
and
Carpets,
the
Carpets of Aladdin.
Yep.
It's the same.
Just that slow spinning
Look,
up and down lever.
I will occasionally ride Dumbo, but I don't need to ride any other version of that ride any other time for any other reason.
No.
Yeah.
And we've
I don't
already
need to ride Magic Carpets. I don't need to ride a dinosaur. I don't need to ride whatever they could come up with. unnecessary.
Yeah. It's good for little kiddos. So if you have little toddlers or that age group, I don't think there's a height requirement on this. So it's fun for toddlers, but yeah.
Astro Orbiter.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got 3 versions of this ride in the Magic Kingdom alone.
Yeah.
We have already spent more time on this particular attraction than I wanted to.
All right, let's go.
All right, so moving on to number 7. Now, this was a surprise to me because I actually love this show. It's Tough to Be a Bug. Coming in at number 7.
Really? That's a surprise to you?
Yeah, I had it rated at number 5.
Well, it's going away, so...
That's true. It is going away.
Apparently, the Disney people have some data that says it's number 7 as well.
Every time we go see it, I mean, it seems to be a fairly full theater.
That's actually true. It is typically a full theater. I think it's a great show.
It's air conditioned.
It's air conditioned. The is it spiders or whatever part? Like I'm not a big fan of that, but I know that this is all fake, so it's not that big a deal.
Well, it's fake until your 3-year-old daughter is
wakes up
screaming her
in the
lungs
middle of the
out
night
because the spiders are descending from the ceiling.
So just quick definition of what Tough to Be a Bug is. It's a theater show. You go in, you sit down. It's from A Bug's Life. They bring in different characters and
It's
they
really
run
cute.
you through like how bugs are beneficial. Again, it kind of harkens back to the whole conservation theming of Animal Kingdom in general. Is just it's a show about how bugs play an important role in our environment. But then in the middle, they mix in some humor and there's different, what would you call it? 4D effects?
Yeah, 4D effects. Absolutely.
That kind of play with your senses.
You do have 3D glasses on for it, and then there are additional effects. The theater is actually located in the Tree of Life,
which is cool.
That's the most unique thing about it. The first time I saw it, I was like, really? You can go out there? I didn't even know that. I always thought it was just something to look at, and so that was pretty cool. The queue getting into it, I think, is actually really pretty cool too, right? You get to see up close how they've carved different things into the Tree of Life, from animals, but you'll notice IP, right? We talk about this all the time, how they incorporate IP. You'll find different animals from the various Disney IPs in there.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
moving on to number 6. And this, I'll be honest, ever since this attraction came out, it's been a huge disappointment to me. The Na'vi River Journey.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in at number 6, not too far off from It's Tough to Be a Bug. Guys, listen, if you've done it, you need to do it at least once, just so that you know how bad of a ride this is.
I think the only thing it has going for it.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
I think the only thing it has going for it is the technology in there is pretty cool. Like the animatronic there is one of the better animatronics.
It's an animatronic.
Yeah.
It's one of the best they have. Listen, I did it recently, right? I know none of you have done it for years. I did it recently. It's better than I remembered it being. Okay. Knocks against it. It's a slow, dark boat ride. There's nothing exciting about it.
I love the dark boat rides. Give me a boat ride.
But typically you get a waterfall in there. You get some sort of speed. You get something. This is basically living with the land, but with the
not as educational.
Na'vi of Avatar in it, right? In the dark. So I don't think it's that bad of a ride. I actually enjoy it. It's a nice change of pace. It does not live up to its potential, though. 100% can agree with that.
Yeah.
When you get off of Flight of Passage and you're like, oh, let's go do the other one, you're like, oh, what? Yeah. So it also does traditionally have a tremendously long wait time. Which I think is because people get off Flight of Passage and they're expecting something great. And so, anyways, 6 I think is fair.
Yeah.
Good spot for it.
It's a good spot. Not my favorite. And I probably will not be doing it on our guys trip this week.
Nope.
All right. So number 5, honestly, looking at these rankings, I think you can probably just guess the order. So coming in at number 5, and this actually is a pretty fun ride, is Cali River Rapids, which
that's a little lower.
It's not going to be open this week while we're there, obviously because of the cold, and they typically shut it down in the wintertime. But it is a raft ride on a river in the mountains of
Himalayas.
Yeah.
So fun fact on this one, it used to be a lot more intense. Like when I say intense, I don't mean the actual ride, but I mean like the message that they were trying to send to you about poachers and deforestation and all these stuff, and Disney actually had to dial it back because it was
that's
kind
hard.
of going a little heavy-handed here, Disney. Like, chill out.
There's hardly anything of that ride at this point. I thought where you were going with intense was there was a period of time actually when they dialed the ride literally back. So in other words, you just didn't really get as wet. And I went probably 3 or 4 times during this period where you'd go on and it's just like the rapids weren't as rapidy, I guess.
Yeah.
And the water didn't come in. I will tell you that they're back at their full intensity.
Oh, yeah.
And you can expect to get soaked. The last couple times I did it, I did get stoked completely. I mean, 100%. So,
yeah, this is a ride where you see people like full on putting on ponchos before they get on.
Yeah.
It's one of those rides. It's a great ride. And I haven't done it in some time, just because I had not been at Disney during the summertime.
Yeah.
In a few years. So the last time we did it, it was one of those times we did it like 3 times in a row, and it took us till the 3rd time before we actually got wet.
Oh, wow.
So, but just a fun ride.
It's a great ride. Again, tubular, circular, you see this in a lot of different sort of theme parks. This is not, I will say it's not a unique theme ride, but it's done well.
And I would say this, it's actually, it's a beautiful ride in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just the scenery.
Very pretty.
It's a very pretty ride.
Yeah. And that's what I meant earlier is like before it was like really intense, but anyways, I don't want to keep going backwards. Let's move on to the next one.
Cali River Rapids. All right. So moving on to number 4, we have, again, I could take this or leave it, Dinosaur. In all caps.
Yeah, for me, this and Cali River were swapped. I actually rated Cali River higher, if I remember correctly, and Dinosaur just one below that. You can see my ratings, I think.
You did. So that's how you rated them.
That's what I remember. But I'm not afraid of this one. I love the Dinosaur ride, actually. And we've talked about it on this show before. Potential improvements to it moving forward. It could potentially turn into an Indiana Jones ride. Whatever they decide to do, there's a lot of potential there. It's great. It's a little dated terms of visual effects and everything like that. And so it could use a refresh, could use a makeover. But I like that ride. Now, having said that, I won't wait for that ride.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I ranked this higher as well, but just because of what the others below it brought or didn't bring to the table. But for me, if there was one ride, if you could say just pick one ride in all of the Disney products across any park, this is my number one ride I would change. To me, the Dinosaur...
You're going to change this over Triceratops Spin.
I would. I just think for the space and what that ride could be, having done Indiana Jones at Disneyland, again, it's one of those things where we talked about a couple of weeks ago, you hate wasted space. I hate the fact that there's this ride out there and this ride system that is awesome, and we're using it to do a dinosaur ride.
And I think if you talk about wasted space, that entire section of Animal Kingdom is becoming wasted space.
I just want to go back to Triceratops Spin.
Yes.
I would.
That's a waste of
at
space.
least there's value in Triceratops Spin for a 4-year-old.
Now you could send them to the boneyard and they could go dig in the dirt.
Yeah, the boneyard is fun.
Which didn't make Ryan's list either, but that's okay.
It's not an attraction. It's a pit stop on your way to Dino Land.
Again, I guess for me it's potential. It's like seeing that 5-star recruit coming out of high school and he doesn't even make the team by his, sophomore year. He's just like, dude, you have so much talent and so much ability to be something great, and you're blowing it by being Dinosaur. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not excited about dinosaurs.
Yeah, I think.
But if you could trade that for Indiana Jones, I'm like, dude, your 2-star recruit just became a starter, right? Like,
yeah, that just tells you that recruiting rankings are full of crap because they do the same thing. So
yeah,
I would just say it's not a knock on. For me personally, I like the ride. I like the story, the concept, the theming. I think it's interesting. It's kind of cool. Let me put it this way. It is, without a doubt, for some people, one of the scariest rides there is in all of the Disney parks.
That's true.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw that part out there. There are moments, I've never been on it, where someone didn't scream at a certain point. And I'm not talking just about my wife, right?
Yeah.
And even if you know it's coming, it gets you. And so I think there's value in that because there aren't really any scary rides anywhere. this is like the scariest one.
Yeah.
In terms of probably jump scares.
Yeah, and jump scares. Indiana Jones is going to bring that to you, but I'm not against them, updating and moving forward. I do want to say that. So don't let Dack's high rating and negative feedback say don't go. Like, you should go.
You should go. It's worth doing, and there's a cool exhibit in the queue and all of that. See some stuff. So, it has value. I see so much potential.
Well,
there.
You did rank it 4th.
On
your list.
No,
I ranked it 6, and then Randy ranked it number 5.
Yeah. It's got value.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's all right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So top 3 now. And again, I think this is just going to be obvious. Anybody listening who's been to Animal Kingdom, there really is the top 3 and then everybody else. So you guys have any guesses who number 3 could be?
I think the number 3 is going to be the Safari.
That's correct.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, Dack.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. And you ranked it your favorite. So
yeah.
I put it at 3 because I prefer thrill rides first, but I don't go and not go on the Safari. So I think that's an important distinction to say in there. I will do all 3 of these top 3 attractions every time I go if they're available.
And that's a good way to put it, because I'm the same way. It's like, I don't feel like I can go to Animal Kingdom and then not do the Safari. And that's what's amazing about it. It's the same safari every time you go. Yeah.
You're gonna see the same. You see the same stuff. Okay, maybe the hippo is over on the other side of the pond this time, right? But it's the same hippos actually. It's not even different hippos. It's the same animals.
If you're lucky, you'll get a pause because there's a giraffe.
There's a giraffe on the road.
Serengeti, or the savannah. Yeah, and sometimes you get a pretty good driver that's a little more into their spiel.
Yep.
Which is fun.
I think I could be a safari driver. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
You could.
They're asking
with the way you're driving over here.
Yeah. You're like, hey, I love living animals. I hate dinosaurs. I want to let you all to know that.
Yeah, and like when they're telling the stories and all the different things, I'm like quoting it before they actually say it.
Yeah.
Like when they're like, "What is a group of giraffes called?" I'm like, "It's a tower. It's a tower."
Like, and it's always a crapshoot if you're going to get to see the lions.
Yeah.
So usually you get to see the back of a lion's head.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Yeah.
This is, again, like I mentioned earlier, this is one of those rides. And again, I know if you're a thrill seeker, this is probably goes against every fiber in your body. But to me, when I go to Animal Kingdom, I try to get there as early as possible. I try to hit this ride first and foremost before any other ride. I might stop to get my colossal cinnamon roll on the way. But other than that, I'm heading straight back to Kilimanjaro Safari. And because I think the animals are going to be the most active first thing in the morning.
And this is an attraction that it can get backed up fairly quickly.
This is one I highly recommend. Yeah. If you've heard my Lightning Lane philosophies, I always say that your 7 a.m. selection should be the one that you think you'll have the most difficult time getting, right? And so, at Hollywood Studios, your choices are typically Slinky Dog or Tower of Terror, right? Those are the ones that fill up the fastest, and they tend to have long wait times. At Magic Kingdom, right? I always say you probably ought to go for the Jungle Cruise, or if you got little kids, probably pick a Peter Pan, right? You're going to save yourself some time. At Animal Kingdom, Safari is the one that I'm probably picking for that earliest time. And that's because the way the Lightning Lane system works in Animal Kingdom, almost everything else you'll be able to get, right? So, and then, by the way, I typically will cheat and buy my way onto Flight of Passage. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Just one more quick thing before we move on to number 2. There is nothing better than walking through the Lightning Lane past that big old long line of safari riders.
Yep.
Like, there's nothing that makes you feel more prestigious and more like,
and they're
shooting
arrows at you. Absolutely.
Like there's that meme of Nala on the Lion King walking past all the other lionesses, and she's like strutting her stuff, and you're like, that's exactly how I feel in the Lightning Lane as I go on this Friday. Anyways, all right. Sorry, Ryan.
Okay, moving on. So top 2 here. Now, this was close.
I bet it is.
We've got
I'm curious to see
where
it
got 2 rides left. We have Expedition Everest and we have Flight of Passage over in Pandora. Super close. We're talking about the difference of a grand total of 2 ranking points. So these are almost a statistical tie, right? So coming in at number 2, Flight of Passage.
That's
No way.
I knew it. I knew that it was probably going to be my family's complete unity.
Randy's even got his Expedition Everest shirt on today representing. Wow.
Yeah. That's not a surprise to me, but it's also a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
But I will say, look, you could give him a statistical tie, right?
My disappointment and
Almost.
disdain level is at an all-time high right now.
Well, that's what happens when you hate dinosaurs.
Well,
Yeah.
Dack, you're complaining, but you ranked it number 2.
I did, but it's just.
So there's one of those 2 points.
But it is a solid number
you
2.
you flip.
What are you talking about?
You flip yours, and then it's a tie.
Wait, I ranked it number 2. There's no way because I ranked Kilimanjaro number 1 and Avatar. You have me mixed up somewhere.
We're talking about Flight of Passage in Avatar.
I know, but I ranked.
Yeah.
What you said, I ranked Everest number 2.
No,
You
we're
ranked
talking about Flight of
Passage
Passage.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Do we need to edit this
Dax-
part out?
Dax-
No.
Dax
Don't
off
edit
the
this
show.
part out. This just shows how stupid I can be at times.
Sleep number needs to take a
Most
little
of the
nap.
time. Yes, I need to go hit my sleep number bed. Go back to a previous episode to know what we're talking about there. No, so
Or not.
yeah, no, I had Everest at number 3. That's why I'm a little bit disappointed that we have it at number 1. Which is
Yes,
it, right?
that's what it is.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Okay, so so Randy, which of your kids ranked it 4? That was the lowest score that it got.
Henry.
That's right.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought he was
Yeah.
your thrill seeker.
He is, and that's why Everest is his number 1. Henry could go to Animal Kingdom and do nothing but Everest over and over and over and over again.
Oh, I thought
he
he
would be-
ranked it 4.
He would be satisfied. And so he ranked Flight of Passage at 4.
Oh,
You are not
I'm
keeping
not
up
with
right
it,
now.
yeah.
we're
I'm
still
just
talking about
like-
Flight of Passage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, listeners. All right. Flight of Passage.
He's in such shock that he's like,
I'm just
his head is
beside
reeling.
myself. So let me ask you this, and this is going way off page, but to me, Flight of Passage is right up there on the same level of excitement and entertainment and just like wow factor. I would put it right up there with Rise of Resistance. And if I had to, if you held my feet to the fire, I would actually rank Flight of Passage over Rise of the Resistance overall, just because I can get on Flight of Passage, I think, easier and with less shutdowns and with less complications than Rise.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's true.
I will say this too. For a while, particularly during and after the pandemic, not all of the effects on Flight of Passage were on. For instance,
Yeah.
the water spray was off. It's back on it. It's back to fully operational last time I rode it, which makes it an infinitely better attraction in my opinion. I do probably rank it overall higher than Rise of the Resistance for the same reasons. Rise tends to go down a lot. I think I mentioned on the show previously that my biggest beef with Rise is that there's all this tech, all this technology, and there's a good chance you're not going to see most of it in use because it's down, including one of the biggest and I think best parts of that ride, which are the turbo laser cannons.
Yeah.
Don't work at all anymore, apparently, right? So now I'll compare that in a second to the Yeti on Expedition Everest, which has been broken for almost a decade, and there doesn't seem to be any plan to fix
There's
it
no
at
plan to
all.
fix that.
But there's a distinct difference between that Yeti animatronic not working and the turbo lasers, which are actually a part of the ride attraction there in Rise of the Resistance. So when you say, wow, which one do you rank higher? I would agree. I'd put Flight of Passage ahead because you're going to get most of it.
Yeah. I think Flight of Passage also is one of those wow factors for that first time goer. Like we were talking earlier about like which is more exciting, you experiencing it or watching someone else experience it. I've gone enough times with enough first time goers to where there's just their
like,
level
whoa.
of excitement and level of like mind blownness, if that's a word.
Yeah.
When you get on Flight of
it's
Passage.
a wow moment.
Yeah, it's so good. That is such a great ride.
Now, big knock against Flight of Passage before we move on, because I know Ryan's like, dude, this show is way too long. And I said we couldn't do it in 20 minutes. But has the capability of being updated, refresh, recycled.
Absolutely.
They've already had another movie, and I'm waiting to figure out, like, when are we going to get to any of that stuff?
Yeah.
Right. So,
And pro tip, if you get nauseous on those types of attractions where you're wearing 3D glasses and watching a screen, this ride or this attraction has the potential to mess you up.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So
I've
come out a few times feeling a little nauseous, and my wife has come out almost to the point of having to leave because she just was completely sick.
Yeah.
So
Animal Kingdom is an absolute Dramamine day. Okay.
yeah,
Because our top 2 attractions on this rankings are ones that their intensity and the type of that ride will cause those people prone to motion sickness to have a bad day if you didn't kind of do. And even if you do, there's still a risk that maybe your body won't keep up. They're intense attractions.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so moving on to our grand champion for this round of rankings, the Animal Kingdom attraction rankings. Again, it was close, but Expedition Everest takes the... Dude, stop shaking your head. It is
the tallest mountain in the state of Florida.
It is.
It is so fun. It is thrill. It is scenery. It is charming. It is the queue.
Charming.
Dude, the queue, you walk through the queue. It's one of the yeah, Randy's shaking his head. Yes, you know what I mean. If you now,
That's a great queue.
It is a great queue.
Remember what the Jungle Cruise ride used to be before they kind of took all the jokes out of the queue? I mean, you still see that in Expedition Everest.
Yeah. And it's one of those, I mean, if you can single rider this, 100%, you're going to wait 10 minutes to single rider it. But if you have to stand in the line, it's this journey, from base camp up to Everest. It's amazing.
Yeah, and they're using, so the historian side of me just comes out and geeks out on
That's
this,
why you're here,
on
Dack.
this queue,
You're
right?
a resident historian.
Is all the artifacts are legit artifacts in that queue. Like they are from Nepal or wherever it is they went. Like I will give
There's no props there.
Yeah, there's no props. Expedition Everest is like 100% legit, real artifacts. And even, I mean, I don't want to do this in this episode, but even if you go to some of the outside of the queue, theming that they use, it's all real. Like it's all based on legends of the, of the Yeti and all of those things. Like there's actual background story there that is thick and deep and harkens back to real actual stories about Yetis in Nepal. It's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
It's just the actual, and again, I'm not a big thrill ride. If you've listened to this podcast long enough, I'm just not a big thrill ride goer. And so for me, Everest is one and done. You guys can go hit the single rider line or do it 2, 3, 4 times in a row. But for me, I can't do it. I really can't. Feelings.
I can't do it more than 2 times in a row.
Yeah,
anymore.
likewise.
But it is one of those, again, if I go to Animal Kingdom and if I can't get on this ride, then it's a disappointing day for me because it's a thrill coaster, but it's not so thrilling that it's scary to me. It's like there's no shoulder harness, which I hate shoulder harnesses. It's just a lap bar, but you do feel some G-force, especially when you get turned around and go backwards. Your neck gets pushed down a little bit. And so, it's dark and it is a nice drop.
In my opinion, it is the most intense Disney roller coaster. It's not the fastest, okay? It doesn't have all the crazy inversions and loops and stuff that you have in Rock and Roller Coaster, but I think this is the most intense because it's also the one that goes backwards, and that's kind of, it's just a unique kind of aspect, but the climbs, the G-forces that are experienced in some of those turns and climbs because of how tall it is the thing that I think sets it apart. If you're asking me what are your favorite roller coasters at Disney World, this is a solid number 2 for me, right? Right behind Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wow.
Okay. And I have not done Guardians yet, so this is my favorite roller coaster at Disney, and it goes 50 miles an hour, which is not.
That's slower than you would expect.
It's
Actually,
slower
you're
than
going to
you
be on it.
expect.
You're going to think it's a lot faster. I just looked that up, and it's only the 5th fastest roller coaster.
But
in
it does
Disney,
seem faster.
Disney IP.
It does seem faster, and it's got a good drop, and it's just one of those attractions that it's just fun. Everything about it is just fun.
But at the same time, incredibly smooth.
Yes,
such a smooth ride. I love it.
Yes. Well, guys, that's it. That is all 8 of our Animal Kingdom attractions, and we'll see which of these 8 make it to the final tournament here in a few months. So,
final thoughts on Animal Kingdom. I'd say don't sleep on it. Like, it's a great park.
There's more there than you think.
Yeah. Don't sleep on it. Don't pass it up if you're planning a.
Oh, and these were just the attractions. I mean, there are
there's more attractions than we say.
That's debatable.
And there's just fun trails and different experiences at Animal Kingdom. So yeah, I'd say I'm a pro Animal Kingdom.
I would say
park.
I think Animal Kingdom is probably, if you like to explore, kind of get lost in the exploration of a park, this is a great park for you. There's lots of trails, lots of things to see. So anyway.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us this week. Thanks for joining us as part of this amazing journey through time. That's for you, Dack.
And as a reminder, we may be coming live via Instagram over the next few days. So check us out on our social media.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.